Model Making Guru is sponsored by emodels.co.uk, your one-stop shop for all your model making needs. emodels.co.uk. Make something awesome. Okay, pause, quick update. I'm in the middle of painting all the metally bits. Two things I wanted to point out. First and foremost, I may have solved the dark desk problem. In the first couple of videos, everything was really dark. I figured out in the end, and that's why I was sort of starting to film with the thing up in the air with a white backdrop, because it was where I got the best lighting. I figured out it's the green cutting mat that's causing all my problems. It adjusts all the camera just adjusts the colour and it looks really dark and I have to fart around with it. So I remembered I've got one of these old Citadel work, sort of temporary little work painting station things, little plastic tray basically, with slots for paints and two slots for water pots and places to put my brushes. So I painted it grey, Tamiya grey, yes, I can't remember which one it was now, neutral grey or something like that. It's a Tamiya rattle cam. Painted it grey, and now with a white cutting mat as well, when I'm taking a picture, the colour balance isn't all screwed up. So everything's nice and bright. It's a little overexposed in my hands, but I think I fixed it. So expect to see a lot more of stuff happening on this mat in future videos, because it's better than the green desktop. I could just paint my cutting mat the same colour, but it wouldn't be the same. So I've still got the backdrop there, the white one, which is reflecting light, and I've still got my light shining down. There's still a bit of shadow, but it looks much better. Anyway, just wanted to point that out, just out of curiosity. Now, more importantly, this is one of my brushes. This is my small base brush, and it's been in my pile of, it's gone a bit shonky, so I don't really use it much apart from hard stuff, rough stuff. I wanted to show you something. Let me zoom in. Let me zoom in. Let me move that out of the way so you can see. Right. If you look carefully, you can see, hopefully, just to make sure that's in focus, you can see that this brush has developed a little hook right on the end. It hooks across like that. It goes zip. And I was like, oh, that's rubbish, I can't use that now. It's supposed to be a nice pointy end. Don't throw a brush away if it does a hook on the end. I'll tell you for why. Because this has gone from being a base brush for doing big massive blocks of colours, or reasonably large blocks of colours, to a fine detail brush. This has basically become like an artificer. What happened, I realised as I was painting with it, I had to paint a little detail, and what I realised, well, you've got a big fat brush that can hold a lot of paint, but the actual pointy bit is hooked. And when you're painting, if you angle it so the hook is the only bit that touches the piece, you can paint super fine details with a big massive brush, which means it holds more paint than your artificers or my Winsor & Newton Series 7. So if I'm doing like quick edge highlights and things, I can just go and do loads of them. So if you've got a brush like this, even a big massive one, and you've got a little tiny hook on the end, don't throw it away. Keep it as a detailing brush. I've just been working on these, and I was painting these little white tick marks here. What else was I painting? I was painting these tick marks and some of the sides of the metal bits here, and some little details all over the ship. And I suddenly realised it was absolutely brilliant for that, for little tiny details. So if you get a brush and it does that on the end and hooks it, keep it and treasure it. I'm going to treasure this now. It's got a little mark on it saying tip hook, not like the freight company, just so I know it's a good brush and it can go into my good pile of essential brushes. So when I've got lots of areas to paint tiny details, I'm not going to use my Series 7 that doesn't hold much paint. That will come in handy if I wanted to paint one of these little ticks, one of those. If I've got loads of them to paint, or if I'm doing paint chipping, I might just use this, because you can hold it from a distance and you can just go and you can paint little things. So there you go. Don't throw a brush away if it gets a hook on the end. If it's supposed to be pointed, it's still super useful.